Well, here we are, and it's definitely baking season. I'm going to be making carrot bread from my cookbook here, my baking cookbook, Taste of Home Ultimate Baking Cookbook. Let me show you the recipe. I will be telling you the recipe too, but it's a really great recipe in that it is very simple. The proportions are very simple to remember. The ingredients are simple. As a matter of fact, 3 of the ingredients, the carrots, the applesauce, and the walnuts, are generally available, at least up here in Northern California, in the monthly food bank distribution. So every time you go to the food bank up here, you're likely to get at least one of those ingredients, if not all of them. So that was kind of a nice plus as far as I was concerned with this carrot bread being accessible to everyone. This video is part of a collaboration named Flour It Up, and it's hosted by my friends Ashley and Amy of Martin Midlife Misadventures. Every Friday they feature items that use flour as the main ingredient, any sort of item. So this is going to be my contribution for this week. So I'm going to start with the wet ingredients that we put in. We're going to pour into the dry ingredients in a few minutes, as soon as I do the dry ingredients. You're going to need a cup of carrots, shredded carrots, and these carrots I'd actually shredded and froze about a month or 2 ago, so I'm going to put those in there. And you need 3/4 of a cup of applesauce, and this is applesauce that I actually made in the crock pot about a month ago and froze. I froze it, a cup of it, so I'm going to take 3/4 of a cup out of here. So let me get that 3/4 of a cup in here. That's about right. And then we need a teaspoon of vanilla extract, which I have here. And that's about right. So I'm going to mix this up, then set it aside, and once I get the dry ingredients put together, we'll stir them together. This part is easy to remember. We're going to put in a cup of wheat flour, a little bit more there, 1 cup, a cup of white flour. I am spilling everywhere. Thank goodness for sponges. So we've got our cup of white flour and 1 cup of white sugar. And everything else is just as easy. 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Get that in there. 1 teaspoon of baking powder. It's been a little trickier. What the heck? All right. And 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. I have turned the oven on to 350 and we'll start mixing things. I just have one more small task to do. All right, I'm going to whisk these together and set it aside for a minute while I chop up the walnuts. I have a cup of walnuts here. They're in pretty much, some are whole, some are bits and pieces, but I'm just going to run a chopping knife over this and get them a little bit smaller. The walnuts really add a lot to this. It's kind of a hearty thing. It's a bread. It's like a quick bread. It's just, I don't know, I like it. I like it for a snack if you want something not so sweet. Carrots, walnuts, it's just good. It's a good fall dish here. All right. That's good enough. Just want to break up some of those bigger ones. So I'm going to gently start folding these carrots and applesauce. You want this kind of just moistened, and as soon as it's just moistened, we'll do one more round with the walnuts. You don't want to over mix quick breads because they get rubbery and I don't know, it just stops working. So I'm just going to mix that. If this looks a little dry, I do have some leftover applesauce I might add. I think I'm going to add the rest of that applesauce. This will make the amount of applesauce 1 cup. I'm going to add about 1/8 of a cup. Baking, while it is precision, does have its moments where you got to improvise. Also, my applesauce is a little bit thicker than commercial applesauce, so that might be part of the situation too. So we can say up to 1 cup of applesauce here. Let me continue mixing that. All right, let's add the walnuts, and we'll fold those in, and then we'll start baking it. All right, I'm going to get my baking trays. I'm going to be using my silicone little baking cups here. If you're doing this in a regular pan, you'll need to grease it, but with these silicone ones, you don't need to. These don't rise too much, as I recall, so I'm going to fill this about 1/2 to 2/3 full. I'm not sure how many we're going to get out here. I'll be right back when I'm done. So this is what I ended up with. I filled up the small one with the small cavities and then 3 of the larger ones. If you are doing this in a loaf pan, they suggest an 8 by 4 inch loaf pan. Last time I did this, I think it was an 8 by 8 inch baking dish, but remember to grease. So I'm going to put them in the 350 oven, and with these I take them out when my knife comes out clean and the baked goods have separated from the sides. Well, one batch is out and the other one I just put in. It looks really good and it smells delicious. I'm going to let these set here for a minute or two, then move them over, then pop them out while the silicone pan is still warm but not hot. And here they are, all baked up. These smell so good and they're delicious. I'm going to cut one in half in a moment and you can see what they look like inside. But this recipe is so cheap, it's so easy, so delicious. No eggs, no oil, simplest ingredients that can be gotten anywhere, even at the food bank, and just a very satisfying fall treat. Let me cut one of these open and we can check it out inside. And here they are inside, just nice and fluffy and good and chock full of carrots and walnuts and cinnamon, and as I said, just a wonderful fall treat. Easy and inexpensive. Thank you so much for watching.